All right, so you can sit up on a block or a blanket. You can sit up on a cushion, a pillow, anything you'd like. You can bring the soles of your feet together and let your legs splay out to the side if you'd like. You can always cross your legs. We lost Jill already. Okay. Oh, wait. All right, there she is. All right, so get yourself into a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you. And you can start to pay attention to your breath. No need to judge it or change it. Just pay attention what it's doing. Okay. And while you're looking inward toward your breath, maybe just start to do a quick body scan. See if there's any place where you're maybe a little bit more sore, stuck. See if you can send that breath to that area. See if you can visualize that muscle relaxing and opening up, taking in the oxygen. If the time change has gotten you a little wonky, just go ahead and focus on rooting your legs down into the ground. You can imagine the space between the back of your legs and the ground getting smaller and smaller and disintegrating. You can imagine actual roots growing out of your legs into the ground to give you some nice, firm grasp. And once you've rooted down into the ground, I want you to visualize that with each inhale, you become larger. Maybe at first it's just your lungs expanding and contracting, and maybe each time they stay a little bit bigger. And then that movement spreads to your skin. Maybe you imagine yourself outside of yourself like an aura. Whatever way you'd like to do it, just imagine yourself expanding larger and larger until you fill up the whole room that you're in now. And once you've filled up the whole room, keep inhaling and bust through the ceiling and through the walls. Imagine yourself, you're bigger than your whole building. Planted into the actual ground now, a giant tree growing up from the earth. Keep imagining yourself expanding larger and larger. Maybe you're the whole size of a block. Maybe the size of your neighborhood. Maybe you can expand to the size of your city, your county, your state. Expand so large that the earth you're rooted to is no longer a ground beneath you, but an exercise ball that you're balancing on, floating through space, spinning wildly in orbit. Maybe you expand so big that the spin of the earth doesn't even move you. You're now floating in space, and the earth is but a golf ball beneath you. can expand so large. You can witness the planets in orbit around the sun. Maybe witness the sun orbiting around the galaxy. Maybe the galaxies around the Milky Way. Sorry, maybe the Milky Way galaxy around. And when you feel like you've expanded as big as you possibly can, I want you to inhale all that power and stability back into your lungs, back into your human-sized body. Suck up all that power into just your little frame. Hold that power inside you, inside your chest, inside your heart, inside your whole body. Visualize it filling you up, making you strong. When you're ready, take a nice deep inhale through your nostrils. Then you can exhale out through the mouth. Another like that. You can flutter out the lips if you'd like. Inhaling through the nostrils. Exhaling out through the mouth. And when you're done with that, you can return to breathing normally. And just sit here for a moment, feeling your inhale and exhales. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. We'll pull up on the spine, starting with the crown of the head, making the spine nice and long, finding space in the back, elongating that tailbone down. Go ahead and inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale your shoulders down your back. See if your ribs are poking out. You can tuck them back under. Spread your fingertips and imagine lightning bolts shooting out of each of them. Check in with your feet. Make sure you're not holding any tension there. Inhale, nice, long and tall, and then we'll exhale down to the right side, placing the right hand on the mat, reaching the left arm over top, pressing that left sit bone into the mat, feeling that stretch in those intercostal rib muscles. Option here to shine the chest towards the sky. You can exhale your hand back behind you, place it in that hip crease where your hip meets your thigh. And breathe here in the half bind. On your next inhale, release your arms wherever they are. Bring them back to the center. We'll exhale down to the opposite side, pressing that left hand into the mat, reaching the right arm over top, pushing that right sit bone back down into the mat and feeling that stretch in your intercostal rib muscles. Option to shine the chest towards the ceiling. Exhale the hand behind you, placing your fingertips in that hip crease where your hip meets your thigh. And breathing into the half bind. If your fingertips don't reach all the way, just reach them as far as you can. On your next inhale, we'll lift both arms into the air again. Reach the fingertips in all directions. Imagine lightning bolts coming out of the sides, out of each of the tips of your fingers. And then inhale nice and tall. Exhale, fold forward. No need to round in your back yet. You can still feel that nice long spine reaching from the crown of your head. Elongate that tailbone down. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. And when you're ready, you can exhale all the way down to fold all the way forward, low as you'd like. And then inhale, rolling that spine nice and back up to a seated position. We'll go ahead and extend the legs out in front of you. Bend that right knee, hold that right thigh into the center of your chest, and exhale the foot onto the outside of the leg, outside of the knee. If you're happy here, go ahead and stay. If you'd like to come into the full expression of the pose, we will inhale the left arm into the air, exhale, hook it on the side of the right knee, and spin to the back of the room. Inhaling here, exhale the twist to the back of the room. Inhale for a nice long spine. Exhale the twist to the back. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, twist. We'll do one more like that. Inhale for a nice long spine. And exhale, twist to the back of the room. On your next inhale, you can come back to center and exhale a nice little counter twist to the opposite side. When you're ready to come back to center, we'll swap legs. Inhale that left leg nice and tight into the center of the chest. You can drop that foot on the outside of the right leg. If you're happy here, you can stay. If not, you can inhale that right arm into the air, exhale, hook it on the outside of the knee, and then twist to the back of the room. Inhaling for a nice long spine, exhaling to twist. Inhale, long spine, exhale, twist. Inhale for a nice long spine, exhale the twist into the back. We'll do one more like that. Inhale, long spine, exhale, twist. On your next inhale, you can come back to center and then exhale to the opposite side for a nice little counter twist. Inhaling back to center, release both legs down, give your knees a little shake. And we'll just kind of move the ankles, flexing the feet up and pointing the toes down, just to warm up the ankles here. If you've been on your feet all day, maybe you have some foot cramps you want to release, maybe pointing your toes will help with that. Just link your breath to your movement here. We'll wake up the ankles. And when you're ready with all that, we'll come to a tabletop pose at the middle of your mat. Wrists underneath shoulders. Knees underneath hips, tops of the feet flat down on the mat. Inhaling here with a nice neutral spine. Exhale to press your fingertips into the mat, press the knees down, press the tops of the feet down, feeling yourself push yourself out of your shoulder girdle. Does that make sense? Pushing your shoulders up into the air. Nice neutral spine here. And then we'll inhale, pressing that right hand into the ground, lifting the left arm into the air for a twist. Exhale, thread that arm underneath, place the outside of the shoulder onto the mat. Option to walk your opposite hand forward and bring your opposite leg back. If you want to work on balance, you can always lift that opposite leg, open up those hips, fall backwards like I just did. But you know, if you want to play around. And when you're ready, bring that back leg back, bring that front hand back to you, press into the air, lifting that left arm into the air, and exhale back to tabletop pose. Pressing that left hand into the mat, raise the right arm into the air, inhaling here. Exhale, thread that needle under, place the outside of the shoulder onto the mat, walking that hand up for balance. You can stretch that back leg out if you'd like. Tuck the toes under if you'd like, or always open up the legs and work on your balance if you'd like to lift that back leg. Good to breathe here. I fell again. On your next exhale, bring all your limbs back. We'll come back into that twist and then exhale back into tabletop pose. On your next inhale, we'll come into a cow pose, shining that chest forward, dropping your udder down. Exhale, rounding in the back, option to tuck the toes under here. Releasing in the neck, you can nod your head yes, you can shake your head no. For cat pose. Inhaling for cow, tops of the feet down on the mat. Exhaling for cat, rounding in the spine, pulling that belly button back and tucking the toes under. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale for cat. And continue to do this motion on your own breath, linking your breath to your movement. You can introduce movements if you'd like, S and C curves in your spine. Any kind of chaturanga or child's pose. Any shifting left and right. And when you've had enough of that, you can come back to stillness on your mat. I want to do one toe stretch before we push into downward facing dog. So if you'd like to put the tops of the feet onto the mat and lift the knees into the air. You can lift your knees half an inch in the air, you can lift your knees all the way into the air, wherever you're comfortable, just stretching the tops of the feet out before we tuck the toes under. If you'd like to do one leg at a time, you certainly can. If you feel like you've gone too far into the pose and you want to come back, no worries. And when you've had enough of that, you can tuck your back toes under and press yourself back to downward facing dog. Your hips can be as wide as, your feet can be as wide apart as your hips or narrower if you'd like. Your knees can be bent as deeply as you'd like here. You can nod your head yes, you can shake your head no. You can start by pedaling out in your feet, feeling that stretch in the back of your leg. When you're ready, we're going to inhale up onto the toes and then exhale, pull the heels down towards the mat. Press into the fingertips, press into the hands. Feel the hips reaching for the back corner of the room. On your next inhale, we'll roll forward to plank. Exhale to stay in plank. Inhale in plank one more time. And then exhale to press back to downward facing dog. One more inhale to lift the heels in the air. And exhale to bring them back to the mat. Inhale the right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Check in with that left heel. Exhale it down towards the mat if you'd like. Breathing here in three-legged dog. So you can lift that back leg up maybe a half an inch higher. Your next inhale, bend that knee, open up the hips. If you'd like, you can always drop that back leg back behind you and lift your right arm for rock star pose. On your next exhale, bring your hand back to the mat, bring your legs straight back for three-legged dog again. Check in with that left heel, bring it back down to the mat. On your next exhale, bring that right leg back down to the mat. Inhale, left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Check in with that heel. Exhale that right heel back down to the mat. See if you can lift your leg maybe a half inch more into the air. On your next inhale, bend the knee, open up the hips. Option to drop that leg back behind you and lift your left arm for rock star pose. On your next exhale, bring your hand back down to the mat, back into three-legged dog. Check in with that right heel, exhale it down towards the mat. Exhale your left foot down, downward facing dog. From here, you can hop or step forward. So you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. Your feet can be hips width distance apart or wider. Your knees can be bent as much or as little as you'd like. You can be folding from your midsection, reaching that top of the head down towards the ground, but no need to force it. Just ease yourself into your first forward fold. You can bend a little bit deeper with each exhale if you'd like. You could straighten your legs a little with each inhale. Make sure you nod your head yes, shake your head no. Inhale through the nostrils here, and exhale, flutter out through the lips. One more like that. Inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling to flutter out through the lips. On your next inhale, place your hands on your shins. Nice, long, flat back. Do one round of breath here. See if you can elongate your tailbone away from your spine. And on your next exhale, fold forward again. This time, either grab opposite elbows, interlace your fingers back behind your back. You can take your peace fingers around your big toes for yogi toe lock. And exhale to bend the elbows to the outside, pulling the top half of your body down. Or you can place the tips of your toes in that crease between your wrist and your hand. Your wrist crease, someone might call it. And place your feet on your hands. Go ahead and heel toe your feet together so that your big toes are touching, but your ankles are maybe an inch or so apart. Depending on the rest of your legs being comfortable together. If your legs aren't comfortable at this distance, always just heel toe your feet out a little wider, no big deal. From here, inhale and rest your belly on your thighs. And then exhale and bend your knees and bring your bottom nice and low. Then on your inhale, we'll lift the arms into the air for chair pose. Breathing here in chair pose. See if you can bring that cat spine into the back of the tailbone and that cow spine into the shoulders. Exhale your hands to heart center, and we'll take the right elbow on the outside of the left knee and press your hands against each other, press your elbow into your knee, and come into a chair pose twist. See if you can lower your bum a little bit more wherever you're at. On your next inhale, we'll twist forward, lift the arms all the way into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands through heart center all the way back down, chair pose twist on the opposite side. Pressing hand against hand, pressing elbow against knee, twisting from the midsection, lowering your bum down. On the next inhale, come all the way up to stand, hands above head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands through heart center and release them down to the side. Give your legs a little shake out. And we'll bring our feet hips width distance apart at the front of the mat. Starting into Tadasana, mountain pose, pressing the feet into the ground, feeling those lightning bolts coming out of your fingertips, even though your arms are down at your sides. Inhale, arms in the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling, one breath in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, pressing back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. And inhale to roll up to stand. Arms at either side. On your next inhale, lift your arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling, rolling up to stand into Tadasana, rolling vertebrae on top of vertebrae. On your next inhale, lift your arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rolling up to stand, and exhaling into Tadasana. 2 more like that. Inhaling the arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling to fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward, plant your hands, step back to plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to roll up to stand, vertebrae by vertebrae. Exhale to release your hands to the sides. One more. Inhale, arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhale in plank. Exhale to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward. So you're at the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, rolling up to stand. Exhale, release your arms to either side. Beautiful. Standing in mountain pose at the front of the mat. Inhale your arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, sweep that leg forward, place it in between your hands. Help it if you need to. Low lunge. From here, we'll inhale the arms into the air for a high lunge. Exhale, hands through heart center, and we'll hook that left elbow around the right knee for a low lunge twist. High lunge twist, high lunge twist. On your next inhale, we'll come back to high lunge. Exhale, frame that front foot, kick that front foot back to meet the back, plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, sweep the foot forward, place it in between your hands, help it if you need to. Low lunge. Inhale the arms up into the air for a high lunge. Exhale, hands through heart center. We'll take that right elbow on the outside of that left knee and press your hands together. Press that elbow against the knee for a high lunge twist. On your next inhale, we'll come back to center, bring the arms into the air. Exhale, back down to the mat. Bring that front leg back to meet the back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling to lower the knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling, rolling up to stand. Exhale, release your hands on either side. Okay. Beautiful. On your next inhale, lift your arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. Exhaling, pressing back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, sweep your leg forward, place it in between your hands, help it if you need to. Low lunge. Inhale, rotate that back heel down, bring those arms into the air, warrior one. Exhale, interlace your hands back behind your back, shine that chest towards the ceiling, and come down for humble warrior. Bring that shoulder to the knee. On your next inhale, lift your chest into the air, release your arms up into the sky. Exhale, frame that front foot, kick it back to meet the back foot, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Nope. 1 breath in down dog, and then lift your left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, sweep that leg forward, low lunge. Inhale, rotate that back heel down, lift your arms into the air, warrior one. Exhale, interlace your hands back behind your back, weird thumb on top this time. Bring that shoulder to the knee, humble warrior. Inhale, shine that chest towards the ceiling again, release your arms into the air, warrior one. Exhale, frame that front foot, kick that front foot back to meet the back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, rolling up to stand. Exhale, release your arms to either side. Beautiful. We'll add our chair this time. Inhale, arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend your knees, lower your bum, come into chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhaling in chair. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Check in with that left heel, bring it down if you need to. Exhale, sweep that leg forward, help it if you need to, low lunge. Inhale, rotate that back heel down, lift your arms into the air, warrior one. Exhale, bring those arms back behind you, interlace your fingers back behind your back and come down for humble warrior. Inhale your arms into the air again, warrior one. Exhale, frame that front foot, come back into a low lunge. This time, drop the back knee down, place the top of the foot onto the mat. Inhale your arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. You can gaze at your thumbs for a gentle back bend. Exhale to frame that front foot, tuck those back toes under, come back into your low lunge. This time, kick that foot forward so that both of your heels are on the mat. If you have blocks, you can reach for them here and kind of just position yourself so that your front hip is moving towards the back. Make sure you're not crunching in your neck here. Release any blocks if you have them. You can take your foot back so that you're in your low lunge again. We're going to drop that back knee down again. And this time, we'll just bring that front leg straight and point the toes up to the sky. There's just 3 little runner's stretches there. Check in with your hips, make sure they're square here. And when you're ready, you can place your foot back down onto the mat, tuck those back toes under, come back into your low lunge. We'll kick that front foot back to meet the back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank, exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Check in with that right heel, make sure you can pull it back down to the mat. On your exhale, sweep that foot in between your hands, help it if you need to, low lunge. We'll inhale, rotate that back heel down, come into warrior 1. Exhale, bring the hands back behind you, coming into humble warrior. Inhale, release your hands back to the sky, warrior 1. Exhale, plant your hands, frame that front foot, come back into your low lunge. We'll drop that back knee down, place the top of the foot onto the mat. Inhale into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze at the thumbs for a gentle back bend. Exhale to frame that front foot again, tuck those back toes under, come back into your low lunge. We'll step forward a little bit, maybe 12, maybe 18 inches, just so both your heels can reach the ground. If you have blocks, you can reach for them. If you want to feel the front hip here, just stick your thumb in that front hip and pull it back to make sure your hips are square. You can hear snoring, that's my dog. Check in with your neck here, make sure you're not wrenching it. Release any blocks you may have, kick that foot back so you're in your low lunge again. Drop that back knee down, release the tops of the foot down to the mat. This time we'll reach this front leg straight. Move your heel if you need to, and point your toes towards the sky. Check in with your hips. Make sure they're nice and square. Maybe this time you want to take your thumb and hook it into your right hip and pull that one backwards. And when you're ready, you can bring that front foot back to where it was. Tuck those back toes under, kick them up into your low lunge again. That front foot back to meet the back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. And exhaling, pressing back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward so you're at the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins for a nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling to roll up to stand, vertebrae on vertebrae. And exhaling to release your hands to either side. Inhale your arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant the hands. step back into plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep the foot forward, help it if you need to, in between your hands. Low lunge. Inhale, rotate that back heel down, come into warrior one. Exhale, hands back behind you, coming into humble warrior, bringing your shoulder towards your knee. Inhaling back up for warrior one. Exhaling out to the side for warrior two. Make sure that back edge, outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat. Knee is as near to a 90-degree angle as you can make it. Arms are shooting out from either side of your body. On your next inhale, we'll bring the palm up into the air, reach forward and then back to reverse your warrior. Exhaling here. Inhaling back to warrior two to straighten that front knee. And then exhale forward and down for triangle pose. Bring your hand to the mat or your shin or a block, whatever you prefer. I like a block because it's easier to make a nice straight long line with my arms if I can press against something stable. On your next inhale, we'll come back to warrior two. Exhale, forearm to thigh for side angle pose. Breathe one full round of breath here. And when you're ready to exhale, we'll windmill the arms down and come into a wide-legged forward fold at the side of the mat. And walk your fingertips behind you if you'd like. On your next inhale, walk your fingertips forward, and we'll come into a wide-legged flat back. On your exhale, you can walk your fingertips towards one leg, and then walk your fingertips towards the other. And then walk your fingertips towards that original leg, but this time bend the knee, maybe just a little bit. And then we'll go to the other side and bend the knee on that side. And then maybe a little bit deeper bend on that original knee and a little bit deeper bend on that second knee. And maybe just kind of rock back and forth, bending the knee, seeing where you're at. When you're ready to come to stillness, we'll walk those fingertips back around to frame that front foot again and come into our low lunge. Kicking that front foot back to meet the back plank pose. Lowering your knees, chest and chin on your exhale. Inhaling for a low cobra. Then pressing back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Check in with that right heel, pull it back down towards the mat. Exhale, sweep that leg forward, help it if you need to. Low lunge. Inhale, rotate that back heel down, lift your arms into the air, high lunge. Exhale, humble warrior. I said high lunge, I meant warrior one. Inhale your arms back into warrior one. Exhale them out to the side for warrior two. Inhale, scoop forward and then back to reverse your warrior. One breath here. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, come forward and then down for triangle pose. Breathing one full round of breath in triangle. On your next inhale, you come back to warrior two and then exhale for side angle pose. Breathing in side angle. On your exhale, you can windmill your arms down and come into a wide-legged forward fold on the other side. Breathing here, reaching that top of the head down towards the mat. And then we'll walk the fingertips toward that front leg. And gently bend your knee as deeply as you're comfortable. You can rotate the heel, you can drag that other foot forward. You can point your back toes towards the ceiling, wherever you'd like to be here. And just breathe, maybe 5 deep breaths. And when you're ready, just go ahead and press yourself up into the air and walk your fingertips to that back leg. The same action you did on this leg to the other one. You can rotate those opposite toes into the air. You can bend your knee as much as you'd like. You could try to bring your bum to your heel. Just breathing wherever you are here. And on your next inhale, press yourself back to the center. So we're in a wide-legged forward fold again. Walk your fingertips back around that front leg so you're in your low lunge. Take that front foot back to meet the back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. And your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long, flat back. Exhale to fold forward. And inhale to gently roll up to stand. And exhale to release your hands to either side. Beautiful. All right. One more sequence like that. Excuse me. Maybe a little different. All right, standing in mountain pose at the front of the mat, release that tailbone down, pull that belly button towards the spine. Inhale the arms into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the bum down, chair pose. Inhaling in chair, exhaling to fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back to plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhaling, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Check in with that left heel, bring it back down towards the mat. Exhale to sweep the leg forward in between your hands. Help it if you'd like. On your next inhale, we'll rotate that back heel down, and this time we'll windmill the arms up into Warrior 2. Breathing here in Warrior 2, knee is tracking over that second toe. Your arms are reaching out from either direction. Holding that belly button towards the spine, releasing any tension in your glutes. And your next inhale, lean forward and then back to reverse your warrior. Make sure that front knee is still bent. Make sure you're not dumping in that any weight in that back arm. Make sure you're stretching those intercostal muscles on the side of the body here. On your next inhale, straighten that front leg. Reach your arms to either side. Lean forward all the way. When you reach your edge, fall down for triangle pose. Place your hand on a block or your shin or the mat. Reaching your arms out in opposite directions. On your next inhale, come back into Warrior 2. Exhale, side angle pose. Making sure that front knee is bent as much as you can possibly make it towards 90 degrees. Reaching in those intercostal muscles. Exhale, windmill your arms down so you're in your wide-legged forward fold again. This time, heel toe your feet together as much as you'd like, and we'll come into a squat. So whatever that means to you, however you comfortably get into your squat. You can have your heels up off the ground if you'd like. If you don't want to have your heels off the ground, you can always kind of widen your stance. Sometimes that makes it a little easier. My hip hurts, so I'm not even going to try to mimic that right now. You can always put a blanket or block under your heels as well for support. On your next exhale, you can release your hands down to the mat, press your bum into the air. And then we'll just kind of walk our fingertips back and come into a plank pose, whatever that means to you. However you comfortably come into plank from here. We'll inhale nice and big. And then exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, sweep the foot forward in between your hands, help it if you need to. Inhale, rotate that back heel down and windmill your arms up for warrior two. Make sure that front knee is at a 90-degree angle. That outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat, reaching the arms in either direction. On your next inhale, palm towards the sky, reach forward, and then back to reverse your warrior. Make sure that front knee is still bent. On your next inhale, straighten out that knee, come back into warrior two, arms reach forward as far as possible, and then come down for triangle pose. On your next inhale, come back to warrior two, and then we'll exhale into side angle pose. From here, we'll rotate back down so that now we're in our low lunge. Rotate that back heel up into the air. Reach for blocks if you'd like. We're going to kick that back leg up forward into warrior three. Reaching that leg straight back behind you. If you had a block, you could place it on your hips. And it wouldn't fall off because your hips are nice and square. There's a straight line going from your hip to your heel, or as much as you can muster. Your standing leg is straight as much as you can handle. We'll just inhale, open up the hips here. And we'll come into half moon if you'd like. And finally, on this standing leg, if you'd like, you can square your hips again. Try to lift your leg up into the air as much as possible while reaching your forehead towards your shin for standing splits. Your standing splits may look a lot like your warrior three if you're like me. And when you're ready to exhale, you can exhale that back foot back down to meet the front. So you're standing, you're in a forward fold in front of the mat about. Coming into warrior three on the other leg, you have the option to bring the leg back behind you and kick up into warrior three, or just bring that leg straight back behind you. Breathing here. Again, your hips are square. Make sure you're not falling into your arch. Imagine the arch of your foot is like the space in between your forefinger and thumb. And you're trying to pick something up with your, like, I don't know, duckbill hand. Imagine that's the bottom of your foot. Don't fall into that arch. Inhale, opening up those hips for half moon if you'd like. And the final option, to bring that leg back straight up into the air, reaching that forehead towards your shin, standing splits. When you've had enough of that, you can exhale that foot back behind you. Step back into plank pose. Inhaling for plank. Exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. Exhaling, pressing back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward. And inhaling to roll up to stand. All right, shake it out. We're gonna go into balancing poses. As always, you have an option for balancing. If you'd like to work on crow, you certainly may. But you have 2 options for standing balancing as well. If you'd like to stand and balance, you can come into tree pose, kickstanding that heel against the ankle, foot against the calf, or heel into the thigh. The other option, I guess 2 other options, is to take that, stand on one leg, bend your opposite knee, take that foot into your hand, and see if you can insert your toes into your hip crease, releasing the leg down. Third option, from here, you can grab your big toe with yogi toe lock. Bring that knee up to the elbow and then straighten the leg out. Whatever option you'd like to work on for balancing. If you'd like to do one leg, I'll let you know when to switch. And if you'd like to do crow, just keep working. And if you're on one leg, go ahead and switch to the opposite. And when you're ready, you can release your legs wherever you are and come stand in mountain pose at the front of the mat. Shake your hips out. Inhale the arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale to fold forward, plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knees, sweep that shin forward, and we'll come into a pigeon pose. Make sure that back leg is nice and straight behind you. Make sure you give yourself any support you may need. Inhale that chest to the sky, and then exhale to fold forward. Front foot is flexed, back foot is pointed. On your next inhale, you can lift your chest into the sky. Get rid of any props you may have. Come back into a tabletop pose. Tuck those back toes under. Come into a downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that heel down to the mat and swing that shin forward and come into a pigeon pose on the opposite side. On your next inhale, you can lift your chest into the air, remove any props you may have, come back into a tabletop pose. Tuck those toes under, push back into downward facing dog. Last vinyasa, roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. On your next inhale, roll forward to plank and lower in 1 object, motion, whatever you like. And come to your belly on the mat. From here, just bend your right knee and reach for your right foot with your right hand. Inhaling here, stretching the quad. If you'd like to get a little bit deeper stretch, lift that knee off the ground, maybe a ½ inch, maybe an inch. Release that foot down. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Reach for that left foot. Lift it about an inch off the ground if you'd like. On your next exhale, you can release your foot down. Inhale, bend both feet, reach for your feet with your hands. Breathing here. On your next inhale, lift your head, neck, and chest off the mat. Breathing here. Exhale, press into your hands with your feet. Come into bow pose. Harder you kick your feet into your hands, the higher your legs will go. And on your next exhale, release your legs down, give your hips a little shake out, and then roll onto your back. You can put your feet about hips width distance apart, or sorry, put your feet about mat's width distance apart, and then you can windshield wiper your knees back and forth. On your next inhale, hug your knees into your chest. You can rock back and forth. You can roll around. You make tiny circles with your knees to give yourself a low back massage. When you're finished with that, hug those knees in nice and tight. And then exhale, drop them over to one side. Doesn't matter which. Your hands can be on your knees. They can be reached out in either direction. They can be cartoon cactus arms. Your gaze can be towards the ceiling or over your opposite shoulder for a gently deeper stretch. Gently, slightly deeper stretch. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to the center. Hug them in nice and tight, and then drop them to the other side. On your next inhale, you can bring your knees back to the center, hug them into your chest nice and tight, and then drop them down so they're about hips width distance apart. You should just about be able to graze your heels with your fingertips. And when you're ready, we'll come into bridge pose. Inhaling the hips into the air, reaching that chest towards the chin. Option to wiggle those shoulder blades underneath you and interlace your fingers back behind your back. Release your hands, release your shoulder blades, and roll your spine back down to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. We'll do two more like that. Inhaling the hips into the air, reaching that chest towards the chin. Option to wiggle the shoulder blades underneath you, interlace your hands back behind your back. You can put the weird thumb on top this time if you'd like. Go ahead and release your spine, release your hands, release your arms, release your spine back down to the mat. Then inhale your hips into the air. reach that chest towards the chin. Option to bring the shoulder blades back behind you and interlace your fingers behind your back. Release your hands, release your shoulders. Release your spine back to the mat. You can windshield wiper your knees back and forth. We'll come into a gentle inversion. If you have a block, you can place it under your sacrum and bring your legs into the air if you like. You can support your lower body by just bringing your whole self up into a shoulder stand and placing your hands on your hips, elbows on the mat. You can do legs up the wall. You can come into a handstand. You can come into a headstand. You can come into a downward facing dog. Sit quietly. Just to bring the feet above the heart for a moment. And when you've had enough of that, you can release your body back down to the mat. And we'll come into a happy baby. Bend your knees and reach for the bottoms of your feet with your hands. You can rock back and forth here. You can pull those knees into your elbows. You can do yogi toe lock over your big toe and practice stretching one leg out and then the other. See what that feels like in your body before maybe attempting it as a balancing pose. And when you've had enough of that, you can bring your legs back down to the mat. You can bring your soles of your feet together and come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined goddess pose. You can place hips under your thighs or knees if you need support, or just place your hands under your thighs. You can rest in stillness here, or you can lift your knees towards each other to induce TRE shaking, whichever you prefer. And whenever you're ready, you can release into your final resting pose. You can begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. You can make small movements in your fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can roll onto one side using your head as your arm as a pillow and take one breath in the fetal position. When you're ready, using that same slow quality of movement, you can come up to a comfortable seat. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center and we'll close with one Om. Inhaling for Om. Om. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Namaste.